Hey there, this morning I was reading in Luke 9, and this week I've had so many conversations about growth. People who are in seasons of growth in their organizations, their roles are growing. And the hardest part that keeps coming up is that they have to grow too. And their roles have grown because of the blessings of a growing business or a growing opportunity. But then the stretch of having to grow yourself can not only be a game of learning and reading and studying, but there is a mental battle that comes with that. And if you've read anything lately about imposter syndrome, that's kind of what can come from that. And I've met with so many leaders who are struggling with that, but don't feel like they can talk about it because it creates an insecurity in the people around them that maybe they don't know what they're doing if they're experiencing these feelings. And I just want to read to you something God stuck on the page today for me, and also say, I struggle with it too sometimes. Walking into an organization or taking leadership of an organization, as you hand off roles, you're going to have people who become experts that report to you that can do things you don't have any idea how to do. That can be intimidating as a leader. But guess what? It's because that's their assignment, not yours. And it is not your responsibility to understand the ins and the outs of every single thing with your organization. So know that going in. But Luke 9:1 says this: Summoning the 12, he gave them power and authority over all the demons and power to heal diseases. Then he sent them to proclaim the kingdom of God, to heal the sick. So when you experience those feelings of insecurity, of, I don't know if I'm the person for this job, remind yourself that at one point the disciples walked this road of being appointed to do something specific, but they weren't Jesus. You are not the person who came before you, nor are you the same as the person who came after you, but you were not made as a leader to be a carbon copy. You were made for the seat you're in for such a time as this, and you are made to be you in that seat, just as you are. It could be an uncomfortable season as a leader. And if it is, that's okay, because he's going to use that season of discomfort to grow you, stretch you, and help you become a better leader for your organization. You also need to remind yourself you're doing everything for his glory. Everything God gives us, everything he puts us through, is for a relationship with him. And I learned that going through the Joe Sengel the study God Honors movement that came out from Joe Sengel's team. And it was just so moving to me, because as leaders, we forget the ultimate goal is for God to draw us into him. We can get so focused on the goal of our organization, on profit, on loss, on plans, that we forget that. He's using everything we do every day to draw us into him. And if you remind yourself of that, it helps combat the the fight mentally that you might not be the person for the job, because you are. So, a couple things: if you're still struggling with imposter syndrome and you don't know what to do about it, go back and check how this road began for you. Have you done the training? The disciples spent time with their leader every day. Jesus imparted wisdom daily to them, and it was different than what he imparted to the crowds. So, who is developing you for the seat you're in? Who did develop you for the seat you're in? And go back to that leader for feedback and growth. Secondly, recognize and be okay with the fact that you are not a carbon copy. But guess what? You weren't made to be. You were made to do something different and better for the seat you're in and the time you're in. So remind yourself of that every day. If you've replaced someone, remind yourself that you're not them. You're made to do something different. And that's okay. That's what you're there for. And finally, were you in the beginning of this role given wisdom and authority? And I think that can be a very hard thing to come to terms with, because we can have someone teach us, but never say out loud, this is their role now. And then we run around not sure why people aren't receiving our messages the way they should. Wisdom and authority have to be given. The same applies to someone simply announcing a title. That has to be paired with imparted wisdom. So if you haven't done training for a role you've maybe grown into or developed into, and there's a new skill set being used, then you don't have the wisdom for it. Go back, take a course, read a book, find a mentor, but do the things you need to do to have the wisdom to perform your role exceptionally. There's a whole team looking to you, and that is a beautiful model for them, that if they want to grow, develop, promote, change, they're going to have to do some work too. So model that for your team. But all of that to say, if you've been given the wisdom and authority, even if you're different, which you probably are, because none of us are alike completely, even if you're different than who came before you or who comes after you, you're exactly where you need to be. It's been imparted to you. You've been given the seat. So go and do and learn from those uncomfortable moments. But it doesn't mean you're not supposed to be there. And that's from someone who struggles with that all the time. Every day, I have to remind myself that I'm exactly where God called me to be, even if it looks different some days than I thought it would. So just go forth today, suited up, ready for battle, and know that every day is a learning opportunity, but you are exactly in the seat in which you should be.